come what may, I'm headed down the right path. I feel so brave, my head held high and I'm showing class. Dreams ignited, every day I truly give my best. I'm thriving excitedly to be the very best version of myself. I'm so bold and I'm so brilliant. I feel amazing, I feel so resilient. I'm so bold and I'm so brilliant. I feel so amazing, I feel so resilient.
Welcome to the Chundria Brownlow Show. I'm your host, Dr. Chundria Brownlow. Now, today's episode is all about starting over and building a life that reflects who you are now and not who you used to be. My guest, Olivia Howell, is the founder of a platform dedicated to helping people navigate fresh starts with clarity, confidence, and care. Whether you're moving through divorce, loss, or transformation, this conversation is for you. Let's dive in.
Olivia Howell, thanks for being a guest on the Chundria Show today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. What a great way to start my day.
Of course. Well, let's dive on in and chat about you and all the amazing things that you have going on. So it's apparent that rebuilding with dignity and community has become a driving force in your personal mission. Tell me about the inspiration behind Fresh Starts Registry.
Yeah, of course. So, 50% of first marriages end in divorce. And I come from a big family of divorce. My parents are divorced. My grandparents are all divorced. I thought that I knew divorce really well. And then I went through my own divorce. And my marriage ended in April of 2019. And my boys were 2 and 5. They were really little. And I had no idea what to do. And, I luckily had family support and friends that helped me on my way. But I thought, if I'm struggling with knowing who to call and what to do, and I lived this my whole life, imagine if you have no experience with divorce whatsoever. So my ex-husband moved out in August of 2019, and my sister, who we own and owned a marketing agency together, so we do everything together. She came over and helped me clean out the house. He left, I stayed in the house, and he took half his things, right? He took his stuff, half my stuff is gone. What was left was really emotionally charged items, right? Like things from the wedding registry, the sheets we slept on together. So I donated a lot of things, and I was left with a very empty house, and I thought, why is there not a registry for this moment in life? It was like my Oprah aha moment, right? Like, why is there not that? And so I Googled it, and the only things that came up were articles saying, why has this not been invented yet? Like, why do we not have a divorce registry? So I called my sister, and I said, I think we should try to build this. And she was like, we don't have the time or the space. We have a marketing agency with full clients. She's like, a startup is very different. I had a little background in the registry space on a marketing side, but not from a building side. So we kind of tabled the idea, but I really started to get very passionate about sharing my divorce journey and the support that I had and sharing support. And then my sister, who's a little bit younger than me, she was supposed to get married. She was supposed to get married in May of 2020 to her longtime partner. They were together for 10 years. And the wedding obviously didn't happen because it was May of 2020. And then they ended up breaking up. So she had the opposite experience of me, where she left her apartment in Queens with nothing, and I stayed in the residence. And she called me, and she's like, I'm in this new apartment, and I have nothing. Like, I think we should build this registry. So we sat down at her new table that she bought for herself, and we just built everything we've built ourselves. So we are the world's first divorce registry and only still divorce registry. And we are a divorce education platform, and we have vetted experts. We have over 100 vetted experts that you can have access to reach out to, like therapists, realtors, obviously, divorce coaches, divorce lawyers. Our whole aim is to eliminate the overwhelm out of starting over. So whether it's divorce, whether it's moving, whether it's grief or job loss, We want you to come and you can build a registry for free. You can access our experts for free. We have so many resources, all free. We believe if you're going through a life transition, we will never charge you for accessing any of those resources. And we just spend our days supporting people with building resources. I personally meet with people going through divorce every single day as a divorce resource consult, I like to call it, and it's totally free. There's no upsell, there's no charge. It's just me helping connect you to people and resources. And we are the leading divorce support network now. So we're really proud of everything that we built.
Wow. That is so impressive and so selfless. Like you took a very vulnerable state that both you and your sister were in, and you've turned it into this fantastic resource, you know, for the public to use. You know, how has the response thus far shaped the mission? Has it changed? Has it evolved? Was it always where you had all these other external elements added to it? Or did it just start out as registry and then you built it along the way?
I love this question so much because we are incredibly transparent with how we make money and how we build the business. Female founders, as you know, probably get less than 2% of VC funding. So we went down that route for about 3 seconds and realized it was completely anti-women and that was not a place we wanted to be. So we are totally bootstrapped. So how we make money, and we are very clear on this, is how we've always made money, which is in marketing and PR. So my background is marketing and PR. My sister's background is in events and tech and business organization. So when you sign on to be a Fresh Starts expert, there are two levels of membership. So you can sign on for $25 a month and you get referrals, direct referrals. You have a profile on our website, which $25 a month is like nothing compared to other websites. And then for just $55 a month, you have access to our complete community, which includes every day of the week. We have business coaching, open office hours, co-working, and we do PR for our experts for $55 a month. So we make money through the expert side. We never make money from the people going through the fresh starts, we like to say. We do use Amazon as a registry platform because to build a registry platform, as we realize, is very, very expensive. And something that's really important for us is the safety of our users. So we do not collect user data on anybody who's going through Fresh Starts to build a registry or to download any of our resources. We don't ask you for an email. All of our ebooks are free. You can just download them. And Amazon will then take your address and hide it from anybody that, when you build a registry. And so we use affiliate links. I like to be very clear. We use affiliate links. We make pennies off of them. Anybody that knows affiliate links knows that. But we really like to use them to track what people are adding to their registry. So I can tell you that a lot of people are adding to their registries sheets, towels, plates, cups, utensils, right? Things for that quick, fresh start that you want to have. But to answer your question, which I love, we started out just building the registry side, and the registry side makes, like I said, almost no money. It was not sustainable, right? So we almost call it it's almost like a nonprofit, right? Because it makes just literally pennies. And so we had to figure out how we were so passionate about this, how can we make money? And that's when we developed and built out the membership platform for our experts. So you know what? We've been 4 years into this. We're still iterating and learning and building. Right now, we're in the process of building out a complete book series of divorce guidance because there's nothing out there that supports people who don't know. Divorce is a totally different world. It's a different language. And all of our books will be available in paperback for $11.97, but they're also all totally free on our website as an ebook or a PDF. You don't need to put an email or a credit card or anything like that. So we really just are here to support people. That's the bottom line.
And that's what I love about it is you both have single-handedly created a space not only for resources. It's like a two-sided coin. It's like it just gets better. It's like the icing on the cake. But then you're also helping the marketplace because I'm sure these vendors are very appreciative that you created a platform where people can gather, people can get those resources, and then if they need extensive services, then you have that there as well. So like everybody eats, everybody has an opportunity to share their gifts, their talents, their services, etc. And then there's traffic back to your business, which is not why you started this, but but it's like a really well-oiled machine. So I just commend you both on that.
Thank you.
And I also commend you for helping people like emotionally recharge during these like transitional moments, like divorce or breakups, because we don't give enough, like, you don't really realize how much you really have to start over. And I feel like a lot of times people kind of leave you alone, like naturally. Now I know like the worst, like I'm gonna leave her alone because she's going through a divorce or she's going through a breakup, but I feel like people naturally kind of just give you your space, you know, like she probably doesn't want to be bothered. He probably doesn't want to talk to anybody. He's probably, you know, healing. I'm going to give him a couple months, but like your world may be completely rocked. Like you said, I don't even have sheets. He or she took the sheets.
Yeah.
He or she took the dishes, you know, and maybe that's not an expense on top of the expenses for divorce. Like it may seem like, oh, I could just go to a local store and buy those things. And so that's what I love. There's so many moving parts to this, but they just work so well together.
Thank you.
So my question for you is, what are some overlooked needs, other needs that people face when they're rebuilding their lives, you know, that your platform addresses? Like you take care of the household things. It sounds like you have real estate agents on there. You have, what else do you have anything with job placement, or do you have anything, with care, providing care for children?
Absolutely, we do. So we always like to say a fresh start begets a fresh start. So often we get people that will come to us and they are, you know, going through a divorce and there's a relocation and there's a new job. You know, so we have resume experts, we have career experts, we have amazing care, you know, parenting coaches. We have somebody from the Parent Collective, which is a national organization that helps people through pregnancy find community, which is really important, because something we don't talk about is a lot of people going through, who are pregnant get divorced. And we don't like to talk about that because it's such a stigmatized topic, but, you know, they need support too. And then something else that's really important for us is helping people learn how to ask for help. So not only do we have our experts, but we have so many resources on what to say to experts. So we just released a free ebook. It's 250 questions to ask divorce professionals before you hire them. Because how do you even know what makes a good divorce lawyer or a divorce coach, right? Why do you need all of these things? What's a forensic accountant, right? People don't know all of this. So we are really passionate about also giving people the language and the words and the scripts to work with the professionals and ask the right questions too.
So, but there may be somebody out there who's afraid to start over after divorce, or they're afraid to divorce altogether, because sometimes that word has such a negative, it feels like, it can feel like failure, like I failed in my marriage, or like that little voice in your head, or even the societal pressures of, you know, till death do us part, and all the things that are in those vows. You know, speak to that person that may be watching them. Maybe they may know it's time to go. They may be afraid to start over. What does that mean for my income? What does that mean for my housing? What does that mean for my children? What does that mean about the area that I live? What does that mean? Could you speak to that person that may be watching today?
I love that question. So I believe that divorce is a recalibration. So I would say if somebody's listening to this and they're considering divorce, or they're in the process, or even if they're just have that little spark of like, is this still the right relationship for me? Sign up for one of those 15-minute chats with me and we'll talk. You know, I'll give you some resources and support. We have a ton of articles about what to consider if you're considering divorce. That's actually our next ebook that's coming out, is how to work through that process and walk through that process if you know it's the right time for you to get divorced. But, you know, divorce has been so shamed and stigmatized. And I think it's because it's about choosing yourself. Right? And people don't really, that scares a lot of people because that's really powerful. So I believe that divorce is actually the most courageous, brave decision you can make. And people that have gone through divorce it's really a very special community that they really will help others who are walking through that process. So reach out to anybody that's in your life that's been divorced. Reach out to me. Come to Fresh Starts Registry. We have so many free resources and you are not alone. As long as we're here, you are never alone in the divorce process.
That was such an insightful conversation with Olivia about rebuilding and choosing yourself after disruption. Now, let's shift from life transitions to mindset. Up next is Allan Howard II, who brings clarity and calm with simple strategies for slowing down, protecting your energy, and reclaiming your mental space. Allan Howard II, certified life and success coach and founder of A.M. Howard Coaching and Consulting. Welcome to the Chundria Show. How are you today?
You know what? Honestly, blessed to be here, and I thank you for allowing me to just be in this space with you and share whatever nuggets of wisdom that I've learned over this journey, and I'm just blessed to be here. So thank you.
Thank you. So let's go ahead and chat today. In your opinion, what are some of the biggest misconceptions about having mindfulness for busy professionals? A lot of us are working full-time jobs. A lot of us have businesses. A lot of us have families and children to take care of, and responsibility and aging parents. Like the list of things that we have to do, it's sometimes a little topsy-turvy. So what I'd like to address those misconceptions about mindfulness.
You have to know who you are first to be able to serve it all, and so waking up and understanding like, yeah, I might have a busy day, but if I don't take time out to kind of check in with myself, then you just start to get lost in the rigmarole. There's so many distractions that, we get lost in, just trying to serve others, right? But I've realized just over my career and over, serving clients and community is that if I'm not coming with literally a full tank, then I'm not doing my community justice. And so, to go back to what you were saying is, even if you have a busy day, there's things that you can carve out. Like, let's just go, for instance, maybe people like coffee in the morning, or they like, I don't know, whatever your idiosyncrasy might be. It could be you're looking at YouTube in the morning. Hopefully you're looking at the Chundria Brownlow Show, right? Like, but if you find yourself spending, too many hours there, you can maybe take a half hour of watching content and kind of say, okay, what can I do to serve myself so that I can show up for others, right?
Because I think sometimes busy professionals feel like there's no room. There's nothing more I can do. I have to, or if you have to pick somebody up from school at 3 o'clock and you feel like my day is packed until 3, there's no wiggle room. If that means delegating the responsibility, if that means, that means having a 45-minute meeting just so you have those 15 minutes at the end of it. Can you think of any like small changes that could have a big impact?
Oh, absolutely. And you alluded to a few of those. And I think before we can even get into some of those steps, I want to take people back and understand like we're really right now talking about the first step to any change, which is awareness, right? Like understanding, okay, there is this need. I feel rushed. I feel like I don't have enough time in the day. And that's what most of my clients come to me with. They're trying to get clarity on, okay, where are they literally in their life so that we can put tools around that. So I'm glad you asked that question. That's a beautiful question. So the first thing is I would say start with awareness and being honest, like brutally honest with yourself of like, okay, whatever days for you work well. Let's say for me, I like Thursdays and Fridays because a lot of people, or at least for me, I don't schedule a lot of meetings on Thursdays and Fridays because I understand just for me, I'm leaving out of town. I have family commitments. I don't want to start populating 5 and 6 hour long meetings on Thursdays and Fridays where people might be out of town. So the first thing is really becoming aware of just how you want to maneuver, how you want to move and show up in the world, first of all. So for me, like you said, entrepreneur, I know I need to have some of that solitude time. So I'm going to build that into my schedule. And I know that, right? So what does that look like? I want to have maybe an hour a day to take a walk. So maybe I have to get up early. I'm not a morning person. Maybe I get up at 5:30. I start to do the second step, which is audit. I start to look at, okay, what are the tendencies do I have? My Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, they seem to be really packed. Why is that? Okay, like I said, you have to have awareness first of where you are. Second, you got to audit your life and audit, okay, this is where I am and this is where I want to go. And like I said, really be honest with yourself of, okay, I see I have 30 hours in this week of meetings. Do I need 30 hours of meetings? You know what I'm saying? And so that's where that honesty comes in with yourself and with who you're trying to serve. If you can do a 15-minute meeting versus 45, now you freed up, 30 minutes, and that's just one meeting, right? If you have 5 of those, you can do the math. That's an hour and 15 minutes or so of time back or whatever you have, if that's some good napkin math. But you can see how you can start chipping away at those little hours, those little minutes, and you can get hours back in your day. So once you start kind of going through your day, looking at, okay, I really don't need 3-hour meetings, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Maybe I can condense that into a 1-hour meeting. You start being real with yourself. Then you start setting, which is the third step, accountability, right? Okay, I've said all this. Now, how can I write this out? How can I really have some type of structure or somebody even in my corner to kind of hold me to this? Hey, you said you're not going to have these hour-long meetings. I still see we're having these hour-long meetings. What's going on. So holding yourself accountable to that change that you want to make, those are kind of those 3 steps that you kind of have to put in place to even start to begin that change in yourself to start to dive down to really what life you want, right? Because if you don't think about it, then you start getting into what others want you to do and what social media is telling you to do, or what your job or your career is trying to tell you to do, versus looking at really what you want to do. And if you don't take that time to really sit back, you're never gonna really get to that, I think.
Guilt can come into play where you feel like you're juggling things. It's like that pressure that we sometimes is self-inflicted. Like, I should be able to handle it all. I should be able to handle parenting, work, business, social. Like you said, you don't have to be the superhero, but sometimes that guilt is self-inflicted, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it could be the people around you, like, oh, you're always working, you never come to my events, you never answer when I call. That societal pressure that you just have to always be everywhere all the time. And so it's like combating that sometimes can be difficult depending on what the relation is with that person. That's, so not only setting boundaries, but also like maintaining that trust, fostering that relationship where that person, if it's important to you. Because I think setting a boundary with somebody, like, okay, you'll be okay if I don't go to your birthday party, But if it's your children, for example, and if, like, dad, mom, whomever, you're always working, you're always busy, you're always on the phone, you're always on your computer, you're always traveling, you're always, and so I'm drowning out that noise.
Like you said, the people around you also play a factor in your happiness, also play a factor in mindfulness, right? And so you really hit something there, because I didn't think about that as well. Because if they're coming at you and saying, yeah, man, God, I wish you could show up for these parties. Well, why don't you have a party at a decent time, right? Why are you having this party at 10 p.m. when you know I got to get up at 6 in the morning for a flight? You see what I'm saying? So there has to also be this mutualism, I think, in any relationship. And we can get deeper into that if you want. But once again, I always bring it back to the self, because if you're not aligned with who you are, then you're going to let those boundaries be there. But when they get bumped up against, you're going to break them, because that comfort that people are feeling is more sustainable than the discomfort, if that makes sense. Because I know that on the other side of discomfort now is growth. But when I was growing up without the awareness, I thought that discomfort was something to be avoided. It's like, no, I want to be comfortable if I'm gonna do something, and that's just not how life works. And so boundaries are the same thing. When we get hit with a boundary, or somebody puts a boundary up and they actually hold it, it actually makes us feel more uncomfortable if we're not secure in who we are. And so that's why I always bring it back to, what are we doing internally to actually show up for our clients, our community, our families?
I want to talk about big mindset shifts for those people.
Yeah.
We're too far behind for the little steps. I'm talking to an audience of people that need that big shift, that big change in mindfulness, so that they can identify, like, even when your body needs a break,
Yeah.
even if you had a rough night,
Yeah.
you didn't sleep a wink. Maybe you had a bad dream. Maybe you had anxiety. Maybe the neighbors were noisy. For whatever it was, you did not have there are a lot of people that will get up the next morning and go on about that day,
Yeah.
tired, groggy, drained, headache, all the things, right? And you still push forward. How can we shift into big mindsets today, this weekend, starting Tuesday? How do you shift someone forward in a major way?
Absolutely. That is such a beautiful question. Thank you. Because the big change that anybody's going to go through, I think, is rapid acceptance and rapid honesty. Because the first thing is that if we're living in this delusion that things are going to get better without any action, I think that's what we have to look at. And that's a huge change for some people, because we talked about those familiar, even generational, I would say, normative behaviors that people are just comfortable with. even stepping out of, I would even say, the comforts of your own home as a, let's say, 18-year-old stepping out. Like, if you don't know, you don't know, right? So you have to first be honest about, I'm going into this needing help. Okay, like, just know that. Like, it's not weakness to ask for help. I think for me, that was the big shift, is to get better. There are some things that I have to first of all become aware of, and that's where hiring a coach, listening to the Chundria Brownlow Show, like these things, these are big changes, like these, because once again, you're opening yourself up to, I don't know it, right? And like for some people, most people want to know everything and control the outcomes, and most people think what they know is, that's it, right? Like that's the end all or be all. So I would say rapid change and honesty with yourself, brutal honesty of, I don't want to feel like X anymore, right? Whatever it is, right? You can say, I don't want to feel groggy in the morning. Okay. What am I doing, right? Asking yourself these powerful questions. What am I doing to even put myself in this situation? And what am I willing to do? So you really have to sit with yourself, and it comes back again, sitting with yourself, which is the biggest change, I think, and being brutally honest. And a tool that I use, and I think this hopefully can help others, is really writing down, what does an ideal day look like for you, right? And then you can kind of go back once again with these first three tools: awareness, audit, accountability. Now you can go and say, okay, I'm aware of, this is where I'm at in my life. This is where I want to go. Okay. Do I have the tools that I need? Yes or no? Brutal honesty, once again. The answer is no. Okay, next question. Do I have the resources now? Because we got to be honest. Like we were saying, we could be behind. It could just be, I don't have the resources, whether it's a network, whether it's financial, whether it's even the mindset tools or the information. So it comes back again to those first three steps. Where am I at in my life? Do I want to stay there, remain there? Yes or no? No, I don't. Okay, where am I at? Do I have the tools that we can go down these steps? But it's auditing, pretty much, right? Do I have everything I need? And do I have the system around me or the people around me, the accountability partners? And am I willing to even hold myself accountable? Which is a huge change. Because most people go around, correct me if I'm wrong, thinking that it's going to happen to them.
I feel like there's a shift that sometimes happens in the mind where it's like,
Yes.
we either are telling ourselves it's too big to attain, like you said, let's tap into those resources. Have you asked? Have you researched? Have you looked online? Have you gone to the library? Have you got a book? Have you found a mentor? Have you done the work? Have I done the work to get to what I'm saying that I want? Action. Powerful stuff. Allan Howard II, I want to thank you for being my special guest on the Chundria Brownlow Show.
Thank you for having me.
Remind us that starting over isn't just about what we leave behind, but it's about what you choose to build next. Whether you're reinventing your environment, your mindset, or simply your routine, growth starts with intention. Big thanks to both Olivia and to Allan for sharing their wisdom and heart. And thank you for watching the Chundria Brownlow Show. I'll see you next time for more stories that inspire purpose and personal power.
I'm headed down the right path. I feel so brave. My head held high and I'm showing class. Dreams ignited. Every day I truly give my best.